Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Malkovich.
I'm being John Harry S. Truman right now.
I knew it. This Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. I'm going. It's
jump into it, baby.
That's Harry S. Truman over there, and I'm John Malkovich.
Yeah,
this is our podcast.
Oh man, Metapod. We should have just been the entire thing. Well, this is Malkovich.
It's literally an hour of just Malkovich.
Yeah.
Oh,
different
Malkovich.
Because they definitely do portray and express a lot of language with just the word. When
Surprising.
He's like, Malkovich. When he's
the
like
singing Malkovich. Malkovich.
Oh, Malkovich. Yeah, dude. Fantastic.
So
that movie's pretty good. We should have watched that for the pod.
I know. Yeah, what we actually watched was something entirely different. Just kidding. We watched Being John Malkovich. Surprise, surprise, unless you wondered what the fuck we were talking about. Or like most people in this movie, you may not even know who John Malkovich is.
I didn't know who John... All right, I know who John Malkovich is, but we were watching this. I'm like, what other movies is he? What is he? Does he actually play a jewel thief? Like
everything. It's weird because when I saw this movie, I was like familiar with. I had that feeling when I saw this movie. Yeah. It was like I know John Malkovich, but I can't name a fucking movie he's in. But now I always think of him from Burn After Reading is the first movie I think of him in.
Right, he's great in Burn After Reading.
That's it.
End of pod. Yeah.
And then this, and then
there's another one. There's another one he's in.
He's a couple. I swear to God, he's in another Coen Brothers movie.
So, he's
the new Pope.
Oh, the new Pope, great. This is a film podcast, and we're going to talk about the great film called Being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich. This is not necessarily a John Malkovich-centered podcast.
Yeah.
But this movie is very much... I mean, John Malkovich is a titular character in this movie. Plays himself, which is a lot of fun.
He's kind of the most important character. So,
yeah.
That helped.
It's literally being John Malkovich. We're going to say, just drink every time you say Malkovich, and hopefully I'll just be blacked out by the end of it.
Yeah, for reals.
So, I did not, if we're just going to dive right the fuck into it, I did not, for those of you who have not seen this movie, I did not write a synopsis because I'm a bad, bad boy. And the synopsis that I could find, the first one I saw was pretty not good. So, it was literally like one sentence. So I'm going to wing it for you. I watched it last night, so it's fresh in my mind. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Go for it.
So John Cusack is a puppeteer who's super down on his life, and he's a cynical 90s man with a ponytail. He is married to Cameron Diaz, who is a animal rights hippie, 90s hippie girl. And they have this life that he's not very exactly zazzed about, and he expresses all his weird emotions through puppets. But when that doesn't pay the fucking bills, he goes
through puppets.
Exclusively through puppets. When that doesn't pay the bills, he goes and gets a random job at this. I don't even remember the corporation, but it's this weird.
Oh, it's really
weird
funny too.
business.
Like, 2 names.
Yeah, on the 7th.5 floor of this building. So already it's super quirky and weird because they have to stop the elevator every time they get off on this floor in between, and it's literally half a floor. He gets a job on this weird floor as a filer because he's got super good fingers. He meets, was it Catherine Kinnear, right?
Lester Corp is the company.
Oh, it is Lester Corp.
Yeah.
Oh, duh, that makes more sense because Lester, the main guy.
Right. Well,
He meets-
it's two people and there's a mystery man, but anyways, Lester's the one that like exists in the narrative.
Right. He meets I just don't want to fuck her name up. It is Catherine Kinnear. Good. Maxine
Who I
is the
love.
character's name.
Great.
She got nominated for an Oscar for this. Best Supporting Actress nomination. Good for her. But he meets her and she's kind of like this, like, I don't know, kind of don't give a fuck, rebel, bad girl that just kind of, I don't know, she's kind of a selfish bitch, but he likes that. And so he starts falling in love with her a little bit, or trying to impress her. But then the movie really kicks off when he finds behind a cabinet at his work at the 7.5 floor Lester Corp. He finds a fucking tiny little door that is just like this weird clay tunnel, essentially, which is in the middle of a skyscraper, so it makes no sense. But he goes into it, and he goes into the mind of John Malkovich, the actor. And is just like living in his head for 15 minutes, and then it spits him out over the New Jersey Turnpike. That's the premise. He wants to impress Maxine with it, so he tells her about it when he's freaking out, and she decides to exploit it, and they start selling tickets, essentially, for $200 a pop to go let a bunch of people inside John Malkovich's head. His wife, I don't remember her name, but is Cameron Diaz. She wants to try it, so she goes in John Malkovich's head, and it fucks her up. And she realizes that she's actually a man in a woman's body, and it like totally has, because going inside someone else's head would change you, I'd imagine.
I love it because John Cusack's character, he totally Craig says this opens a lot of philosophical questions.
Yeah, philosophical questions.
Yeah, which yeah, you're right, bud.
I'll wrap it up. She basically Maxine, the third point of this love triangle, starts falling in love with John Malkovich only when Lottie is the character's name, is in his body, and so it's super weird. She likes seducing John Malkovich, but then people keep going inside of his body, and that's what gets her off on all this weird power. And then eventually it kind of spirals out of control, and John Cusack's character fucking puts his wife in gunpoint in a cage and takes over John Malkovich's body permanently. And once she realizes he can do that, Maxine is like, oh yeah, you should just be John Malkovich and we should just take over his life. And so they do for like a year. And John Malkovich, or John Cusack as John Malkovich, the puppeteer, starts a whole new life. John Malkovich's drink starts a whole new life as a puppeteer, as John Malkovich, but it doesn't work out because Lester, there's a whole bunch of thing about portals and being immortal. and he's the vessel. Subplot. He's the vessel that they've been watching this whole time, because they basically, to be immortal, they keep jumping from body to body. Lester, who's an awesome character actually, and this is the boss of Lester Corp. And
dude, that he has like the funniest scene in the whole movie. But
it's the best. And it ends with, he leaves John Malkovich's body, but it's all fucking crazy. And Lester Corp goes in John Malkovich's body, and then John Cusack gets stuck in the next vessel's body. He's just stuck inside her body for years as like a prisoner inside of her subconscious. Which is the daughter that got impregnated by Lottie / John Malkovich / John Cusack in Catherine Kinnear's body. So yeah, it makes sense if you watch the movie.
Yeah, really.
But that's the gist. Then they have the daughter. It ends with he's stuck in her body. Lottie and Maxine are together, raising this daughter, and Lester, John Malkovich, is apparently just dead inside of his own body, and Lester and all these other old people apparently are like one ultimate conscious being inside of John Malkovich. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I mean that's
totally
the gist. It's like they've all agreed that they will collectively run each new body, each new conscious. The thing that is slightly confusing though is like they're stuck inside John Malkovich still, right? So once the little girl grows up, they'll want to get into her consciousness.
Dude, I think that it's like, so every single time,
Or
that's what makes Lester such a weird character, because if you think about it, he's actually like hundreds, if not thousands, of different people into one super being. Because every time he takes over a new body, he's taking people with him. So it's like, you got to assume the last time when he took over Lester, he was another guy plus 15 other people or whatever. And then this body, when he goes in to the tunnel and he brings like 15 to 20 other elderly folks into his body. So each time, and then at the end, as John Malkovich, he's talking about bringing Charlie Sheen and Gary Sinise and all his Hollywood buddies into the new body. So it's like every time they go to a new body, it's like this mixture of all these consciousness becoming like this super immortal being. It's weird.
Dude, it's going to be, it'll be the singularity, man.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one consciousness.
Eventually, it's just going to be one, everyone is one person. And that's actually the afterlife.
Well, right. Probably would be.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Anyway.
Or it's just 1,000 people screaming into a void.
Yeah, that's probably it. Because it's even though Craig, the character of Craig, John Cusack's character, is like a douchebag.
Oh, yeah. He's dude, do you know what I
his
called him?
His fate's brutal, man.
I called him a fucking schlub.
Dude,
everyone in this
fucking
is schlubbing around.
He's a schlub, all right. He is. He's just pathetic,
then in my notes,
man. He's
I was like,
pathetic, man.
Yeah, Spike Jonze, he likes his schlubs though. I feel like that's where it's like every character in his movie is like
he does. He likes his schlubs. That's right.
Like in Her, he's like a hipster schlub.
He's always got a little schlub element. Spike Jonze, what a weird. I was watching Jackass the other day, and just it's weird when Spike Jonze like hangs out with that crew.
Well, dude, I mean I freaking like yeah right was my like introduction to Spike Jonze. That was like my that's such a sick ass skate video. Like that's almost like it's totally like a completely niche genre. Unless you enjoy
it's
skateboarding,
awesome.
You don't watch skate videos. But I literally couldn't recommend more.
It's
it
very
branches,
unique as well.
Right. It branches the skate video and like the professionalism with like actual, I wouldn't say narrative, but like just film production.
Yeah, well, it's the experimenting, like all the bit with like the invisible skateboard and everything.
Dude, invisible skate, and his huge. He would do big stunts. He would like green screen out like he would make it look real, like people are like gapping these huge, like gapping a whole city street or something.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but it's clearly like either wire work or it has like a ramp built. And so it's just fun to see his little tricks that he does. And like, he definitely came in that like early 90s period where indie film kind of like swept the nation.
It did. It popped off big time.
Everybody.
And he was definitely like experimenting too with like funny in-camera tricks and like forced perspective and shit like that. So.
Right. And you could come from like humble beginnings. Like he literally like made shorts and skate videos and just, music videos and like.
Is this his first movie? This is, right?
Correct. Yeah, this is his
feature.
directorial.
Well, good, because it was successful. This movie did well. I mean, you could save it for the Money Minute, but I remember it being pretty popular because it was. I feel like in no other part in history could this movie exist the way it does, because the 90s, for some reason, especially like the end of the 90s, like something this weird having such mainstream success is like, I feel like would not really happen these days. It would be like released on Netflix and have kind of a cult following. But it's like, I remember when, like, obviously I was a kid when this came out. I was like 10 or 8, 9. But I remember it coming out, and I remember like shortly after, like, my dad is seen being John Malkovich. You know what I mean? And that's like,
my dad loved this movie.
Wait, did he actually? Sorry, now I'm looking at Spike Jonze.
But Spike Jonze has only directed like 4 now that off the top of my head. 4 movies, but this film,
it's almost been 10 years since his last movie. That's so. Her came out almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, dude.
God, a movie I started twice and never finished. Sorry, this is a bit of a rant, but Is Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, really?
I watched it with, I gotta finish it. I started it with my daughter like a couple weeks ago, and I got like an hour and we stopped.
It's definitely like,
I liked it though.
It's more just a vibe. It's like wild, that it's almost like where Polar Express kind of flushed out like a 12-page book. It's exactly like Where the Wild Things Are. It just totally like this short story really flushes out like a really like big narrative, and it just captures childhood perfectly. I don't know. I love that movie. I think that every single like film he's directed has been fantastic.
He's only made 4 films. What the fuck?
Movies. But no, would be fantastic. So in 2003, which is even longer ago, that was his first compilation, like his first short compilation. We need another one. Where's the update, dude? He's still making shorts to this day.
He's doing all kinds of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still rocking music videos and stuff. It's like, can we get another Spike Jonze comp, dude? Where are you, Criterion? Get it. But I love everything he's directed, and I love that it's just like that. Getting into that, like wrapping into that meta Hollywood is so cool. Instead of just having like an actor in it, it's like basically, and then this is another collab with his first collaboration with Kaufman, but then he did adaptation,
right? Which we covered. Go listen to that episode.
Yes, listen to that past episode, and he does a collab, which works perfect. It's him trying to make Being John Malkovich.
Yeah, adaptation. It starts with him on the set of Being John Malkovich, and they're like, who the fuck is this guy? Get him off of here. And he's like, I'm the writer.
Yeah, and it's like,
get the fuck out of here, you schlub.
Right, dude, schlubs, man. He loves them. But I love how he'll take like relatively famous, which I mean clearly like not mega superstars per se, but like he'll take big actors and he just puts them in such peculiar roles and has them play a completely different person. And I think Cusack, in an interview, Cusack actually said that was his main goal. Was he asked his agent to find him the weirdest script, just like a script that he's never heard of before. And so that and he was like, found that, auditioned for it, nailed it, and I think he's perfect. I loved like 90s Cusack, like Grosse Pointe Blank.
Dude, he crushes it.
High Fidelity, dude.
I love both of those movies.
Right, yeah, and it's like he's got like a cool charm, and I like his acting, and so to see him in this kind of as a pre-2000s incel. I don't even know what
pretty much
called him. He's just he's just this like edgelord dude that.
Well, I like how this really is like the late 90s when it was like it was weird and free, but it was also kind of like the end of an era where it was like kind of goes kind of dark. And it's like that's why you get some of the best movies of the 90s in 99. You know what I mean? It's like all those kind of movies where it's just like there's like a lot of experimentation and like a lot of people would look back on the 90s, especially in filmmaking, as like a time of like innovation, a time of experimentation, like everything's going good. So there's like all these young people making all these new fresh voices, but it kind of like peters out going into the new millennium. I think it was like something with like anxiety over like the new, I don't know, it was like Y2K anxiety or something. But it's like you got The Matrix and you got like Fight Club because it's like the same.
Clearly 9/11 was like that was the pinnacle.
That was the pinnacle turning point.
That was a pinnacle event that totally reshaped the whole fucking early 2000s.
So we're going to spend the next 45 minutes talking about 9/11.
No, 9/11 is an inside job, but it's like this movie really came at the right time. It totally like I think it's like I'm bummed because this is a really popular movie. But I don't feel like enough people are talking about it, man.
Especially not now. I mean, the thing is now it's like definitely, over 20 years old.
Well, I'm trying to think of, because we usually have our segment, if you liked this, watch this.
Yeah.
I can't think of a movie that's...
I got a couple that I want to suggest.
Okay. I mean, we could save it too. That'd be...
Whatever.
But what are your thoughts? Because I've been trying to rack my brain about it, and I can't really...
About, like, what I would think is most, like, if you like this, watch this?
Yeah.
My first thought was Michel Gondry, especially Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, duh. Well, because you have another collab. And even with the puppetry and stuff, that movement, yeah, that
right.
Michel Gondry,
Well, especially like the way he does the camera tricks and the forced perspective, but like specifically Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where it's like dealing with more of a, this one does with like, reality as memory, and John Malkovich is more like, what is the idea of the self, and all that shit. So they're kind of like similar vibes, but the other one that came to mind for me is it's not the same, but it's got similar points. Was Get Out.
See,
just
and that is
the idea of being
that's
like
a fan theory. Have you heard that? That these universes are connected.
Oh, really?
Like there's
like a portal.
the brain portal. Yeah, the brain like melding, and it's like the brain transplants.
They tried to recreate it. They lost the portal or something. Yeah. They're trying to recreate it.
Yeah, it was something like, I don't know. I just glossed over it because I was like, well, that's a rabbit hole that I would love to go down later, because it's like it was just like, what? And I'm like it kind of tracks, but
Catherine Kinnear's in both of them too.
That was kind of the
that it's Maxine, that it's just her tissue. In the same year.
Right. Yeah, that was the connective tissue, but it goes into deeper into like, because it is a portal-esque world that they're living in and Get Out. So it's like it deals with like consciousness and stuff.
Well, yeah, it's two sides of the same coin. Like Get Out, or like it takes the idea of like two people essentially sharing a body, and so ask questions about like, what is consciousness? Is it a physical thing? Is it like a soul, like more of a metaphysical kind of like otherworldly thing? Like, we don't really know. And it's like, being John Malkovich doesn't really, it kind of errs on the side of like, it's more mysterious. Like, there's this mysterious portal, and the fact that it's like some things go into it physical, but what does that look like? Like, he takes the piece of wood with him, and it's in there. He's like, did I leave the piece of wood in John Malkovich? And then later, when he comes out, the wood comes out with him.
He has the wood with him, and that was also something I was kind of like. Oh,
and then Get Out is like the taking more of the physical approach to it, where if it's like the physical consciousness, and it's like you're being stuck inside your own body. Because I think that's horrifying. It's like possession.
Oh, dude. In my notes, I said, oh wait, is this a body? Like, I put body horror ? Because I'm like, it totally is, dude. There's a lot of goo. Everyone gets covered in goo after you.
There's some goo. I know how much you like your goo.
I love goo, dude. And then there's an old doctor, the one cuckoo guy, the older guy. How's his name?
Dr. Lester.
Lester. I don't even know if he's really a doctor, because he just kind of calls himself a doctor. Yeah. And then he explains the breakdown of like, at midnight you have to go into the vessel. Yeah, and if you get like trapped, and I'm like, that's like, it's like just that simple. He has the exposition dump. The old doctor has the exposition dump, dude. It's totally a body horror.
It is. Well, it's like a possession movie too, because it's like,
yeah,
this movie is pretty played for laughs, but it's fairly dark, and it does some weird thing. Like, there's a lot of hilarious moments, like the secretary who turns out to be like the wife of the vessel or whatever, where she like misunderstands everyone, and he's like, I'm sorry about my speech impediment, and all this weird shit.
And that's like, that's the funniest.
And him just being a huge pervert, like.
yeah, like, and it kind of, I'm almost like, is that other consciousness like trying to like kind of bust out? Like, even though, I don't know, has he like, because like you said, if he's done like thousands of people,
dude, yeah, I wonder like, who knows over time? Because if he says he's originally the guy who. Originally, I don't know. It says he's like originally the guy who built the building, and like when he first came to New York, it's like at least a couple hundred years old. So it's like he's at least done it a handful of times. You know what I mean? Presumably, especially if they do it every 40 years or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So it's like that's like his weird sexual drives, or like it's like he's got 100 people in him or whatever,
right,
bursting at the seams,
and the youth too. That's like definitely
right, but it's like
part of that.
Like you're saying, that stuff's all fairly funny and light, but it's got these other undertones. It's like it's like horrifying when like he's in John Malkovich's body and John Malkovich is realizing it. Especially when they're like, he's like, what if we just like take his body over, and he comes back for a second, he's like, no, and starts screaming, and they're like, stop, no, calm down. Like, we're trying to talk here, how rude, and you're like, ha ha, but then you're like, this guy's just screaming inside of his own skull as he's possessed by some fucking gross puppeteer who's like obsessed with this girl.
Dude, oh my god, I love that. I love him being a puppeteer. Clearly,
yeah. I was gonna say we gotta talk about the puppets because holy shit, the puppeting is so good.
Oh my god, I like so watching this movie again. I think I've only seen this movie in the early 2000s, and oh my god, there's so many things I wanted to backtrack on because I'm dumb, and I remember reading it, and I had to go back and read if I was like remembering this correctly. So, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. We did that movie as well. Go listen to the podcast.
Yes,
but that was written by Charlie Kaufman, who wrote that because of the play that he does in the beginning of this movie. He marionettes that like letters of two lovers, I think is what it's called. Oh. And it's like
when he does on the street, the dude
he does on the street.
It punches him out.
It's hypersexual, and like the kids watching it, and it's like that's such a great bit, dude. I love it, man. It's like clueless parent and then taking out their rage on him. It's great. But that story is essentially the blueprint for like the romantic plot that we experience now in like every story. It was like written in like the 11th century or whatever, and then like been rewritten in the 15th century, and then it's been adapted ever since. And that is Charlie Kaufman's adaptation is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So it's beautiful that it comes back to Michel Gondry because like they're definitely in the same wheelhouse, and I feel like silly that I didn't even like. I'm like, oh, of course, like Michel Gondry. I just think I'm almost like Michel Gondry is more whimsical for sure.
Like even though his movies can get
he can be dark, yeah.
But he's got like a childlike, whimsical is a good word because he's got like a childlike wonder to his movies.
But anyways, I wanted to get that out. But being John Malkovich has such a great edge to it, and it's such a like New York edge, and then that contradiction
New York edge
with fucking John Malkovich is like when you first get to be in his brain and his mind, and you're watching him, and he's just so like so soft spoken, so kind. It's great to see like more intimate personal side, and I like how they even talk about that a little bit too, where she's like, oh, I could tell the femininity in him, through you, when like it was him. And it's like, but it's like he's just being John Malkovich, so it's like fucking what is that consciousness, like, and she's like, I could look into his eyes and I saw you in there, Lottie.
Yeah,
and it's
and
like,
that's good. That's some great acting by John Malkovich, because it's like you actually believe that there are multiple people inhabiting his body, because you see like a certain like lost twinkle in his eye when like a just like in awe when Lottie's inside of him, and then like when you see Craig's character like trying to take over, like, and then him bouncing back and forth, and he's like, that really scared the fuck out of me. It's like good subtle acting too, when it's just like she's like, oh, is that you in there? Like it's just a subtle change in his like facial expression and stuff. Pretty good.
Do you know what? You want to know a fun fact that this is my surprise fact.
Oh yeah, you said you're gonna drop a surprise fact. That's right.
Yeah, it's a fun cameo. Back to puppeteering. So Craig's like nemesis, who I can't remember that guy's name, but I love how he's all gimmicky because the other guy does the marionettes.
Oh yeah,
does that. He does that. It's just watching it on the TV, and it's like that really big performance, and he's like super jaded. Well,
right.
that do you know who that puppeteer is?
The other puppeteer?
Yeah, the other puppeteer. His name doesn't matter. That's David Fincher, dude.
Oh no, I saw that.
Yeah.
I was literally
okay.
I was watching it.
No,
No. I know what David Fincher looks like.
Oh, okay.
And so when you
recognize him.
I recognized him immediately, and I was like, I saw him because they're like doing the interview at the end where they're like doing the TV special, and he pops on, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's David Fincher. And my wife's like, that guy? I said, yeah, that's just David Fincher randomly, and they didn't even like everyone else is playing themselves. I don't know why he's just not David Fincher. And then he's just like in it for like 2 seconds, and I was like, did David Fincher just wander onto set? Like, what the fuck?
I know, yeah.
Because literally I was like, that's David Fincher. What the hell?
Yeah, man. I mean, they run in tight circles. Dude.
I know.
It's like fucking,
I did know that. I did not know
Okay,
that the
okay.
first time watching it, but it blew my tiny mind last night because I literally was like, holy fuck. What the hell? Like,
Yeah,
it's super random.
Yeah, I love it. I like because it's just like he's on the TV. Totally like he's a completely throwaway character, and it's just,
100%.
It's awesome. It really is. He probably was just on set. He's
No,
probably
literally,
just coming
they're
on set and
probably
see,
like,
what's old Spikey doing today? You
he
know?
was
and he
filming
comes on
Fight
and
Club
it's
in the
like,
next lot over, and they're like, he's like, what are you guys up to over here, Spike Jonze? He's like, hey, you want to come be in this shot today? You want to be this guy in this fucking like scene? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to be the rival marionetter?
Why not?
Dude, I love it, man. I love that. Like, well, this is like, speaking of tight circles, it's fucking Spike Jonze, man. To be he's just a cool skater kid that got to like hang out with some epic creators, man. Like he fucking married Sofia Coppola, and like the whole reason he got this film is because Francis Ford Coppola was first billed to shoot this movie, and he went, wow, this is kind of out of my wheelhouse. It's kind of weird. So he recommended it to Sofia Coppola, who said, well, Spike Jonze would actually be really, this is like a fun, unique project.
Yeah, give him let's give him a
that.
feature, yeah. And then bada bing, bada boom.
Well, kind of, yeah. This actually did go through a lot of like,
I can't imagine anyone else I can't even fathom Francis Ford Coppola making Being John Malkovich. Like, I can't even imagine that movie.
It wouldn't be, there would be no, so this movie already has really, really weird comedic pacing, but I think it works great. I love it. But Francis Ford Coppola doesn't really have that. It would just be so weird. It'd be so straight and I don't think there would be like a youthful vibe in it.
No, I don't want to say like it would be stiff, but I feel like it'd be more like I don't know, like more like more drawn out. Like he would feel like he had to make like this more like meandering epic thing, and so we'd get like a 3-hour long meditation of like it would just like Apocalypse Now in New York or something. Like
yeah, right. Like it would be like the true, like John Malkovich would like have true terror. Like it would be like it would truly the consciousness.
Be interesting.
But
that's what makes this movie work really good, because the script is. I saw this movie back in the heyday of me watching every movie ever when I was like 14, 15. You watched every movie 14, 15, and then you waited about 15 years before you started watching all the other movies. I know. Well, I still watch like my whole life since I was like 14, 15. I've watched a ton of movies, but like I've always loved movies, but I felt
what do you think you're at? Probably 100 a year, right?
No, I'm way more than that.
No, average. I meant average.
I'm average 180 a year, because I counted it up ever since I've been keeping track on Letterboxd. I watched 175 movies last year.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably fairly average. Thereabouts, you know what I mean? Depending, I go through stints, but those years, dude, I watched.
Oh, dude,
easily. 1,000 movies.
Oh, dude, I 100%.
I literally went to school, and we went to a film school.
So
we watched movies at school.
Watch movies at school, and I would go home and watch movies from the library.
Yeah, from the library. Yeah. That's it. And then when I would hang out with my friends, like when we were hanging out in high school, I would be like, "Come over, let's watch movies."
Yeah. Right.
Remember the first time you ever came over to my house? We watched The Machinist.
I know, and I don't really remember that movie very well. The only thing I remember from it is the big toe, creepy, and that he
super skinny
Christian Bale. Yeah, all he ate was a can of tuna and an apple a day, and then
cigarettes.
smoked like 4 packs. Yeah, smoked like 4 packs of cigarettes. And I was like, "Fuck, that's a good diet, dude. That's my next.
That's the diet I'm going on." Yeah.
That's my next diet.
Well, me and Mary are talking like when we have our other kid, we're like, we're gonna lose a bunch of weight and stuff. So I guarantee you, if I pitch her 4 packs a day, she'll be into it.
Yeah, she'll be into it. No, totally.
Because she's like, man, we should get back into. I should get back into smoking once we have all these kids. I said, no, we can't till we're older. We can't till we're. I said we'll start smoking when we're older. But What were we talking about? Oh yeah, being John Malkovich.
Don't do it, Mary.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
She doesn't fucking listen to this.
I'll tell her in person.
Yeah, you should. But no, this movie, it's a very good script. This time watching it, I was really impressed because it was like he does that thing. Charlie Kaufman does the thing that great writers do, and I feel like this is his most successful movie. But he takes a very strange, abstract central concept, but he makes such good, fleshed out characters around it, and it's because this movie essentially is it's like a love triangle character drama, you know what I mean? But it's like through the body of another man, you know what I mean? And like the portal of consciousness, it takes this weird concept and it makes it sound like really strange. It's like what Stephen King does, where he takes some fucking stupid concept that you try to pitch, sounds really dumb, but the way that it's done has like really good fleshed out characters or whatever that makes it like super gripping. And that's what this movie I like this movie more than I remembered liking it because when I watched it back when I was like 14.
Oh,
I was like, this is really cool. I really like this.
I couldn't appreciate it.
But I did not appreciate it. Like I was like, whoa, it's fucking trippy, dude. But I was not, and I was appreciating like, you know, the camera stuff and all that. But I wasn't appreciating the I don't know, the subtleties and like the way this is a really tight script, especially for Kaufman. Like it doesn't go like I really like his movies that do go off the rails. Like I love Synecdoche, New York.
I think we talked about it though. It's like I rarely, or not rarely, but I prefer a Kaufman written movie directed by
someone else. Yeah.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
I think.
I want to watch. I've seen pretty much all of his movies except for his last two.
And I know. And like, oh wait, what was his? Because there's
Animalesia or whatever, the stop motion one.
I really wanted to see that. Yeah.
Let's find a way to watch that because I do want to see that too.
Dude, stop animation should just be a category 1 month.
We should.
There, just finished.
Oh, did you do it?
But
I know. Yeah, but my wife already hates me. We can't do animation.
I mean, but it's stop animation. She'll find something out there that she likes.
Yeah, maybe.
She'll find love somewhere.
You know, she likes Wes Anderson's stop animation, so who knows? But who doesn't?
Oh. Right, yeah, dude.
Nobody can't not like Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Soulless. Fancy Fox, dude.
Fancy Fox.
That's such a that stop animation so good.
So good.
Oh, I love just like marionettes. The choreography in this movie that we're talking about today, being John Malkovich, is the greatest. I did not know you could express and emote so much with marionettes.
I was literally questioning a lot of the time, like, is somebody really puppeting that?
Uh-huh.
Because it's so fluid and so real that I'm like, no, this has to be some kind of trick. This is a person in a costume or something.
So,
but I'm
person in the costume for sure is what I thought. But I mean, I think that I wanted to read it. There's the actual artists who did all that for it are on here. And anyways, oh God, I'll find it later. But it's like they created. There has to be something else because there's no way. I mean, clearly them manipulating it isn't what they're not really doing it. I feel like there's somebody else who's already created it, and then they just cut around.
They have to. There's no way. I mean, I think maybe there's a couple parts in the wide shot where John Cusack or John Malkovich actually have the marionette strings. But yeah, it's definitely there's a professional in there.
But I mean, Cusack did go to school with this woman. I'm so mad. Where the hell was she? I have it fucking bookmarked, and now I lost it in the sea of stuff. But it's like the actual creators worked with, Camila Portuguese or whatever. She worked with it, and so she she's a specialist. So she actually she created all of the choreography and did all of the work, but worked with them for wide shots. So I guess it kind of is a blend of them together. Yeah. But she did all the tight shots and stuff, and but dude, the emotion that they got out of that was like. I definitely did not appreciate that when I was younger.
No, this possibly, we might be, I don't know if we're skipping ahead, but one of my favorite shots is so fast. And one of my favorite parts, where he's, as John Malkovich, he's like doing the symposium on the video, and he's like, no. He's like, you're making it weep, but you yourself are not weeping. You know,
I'm
you
not
have
weeping. Yeah.
And so he goes up there and he starts making it sob on the ground.
Yep.
And it's just such a quick shot, but you don't even see him, but you just see teardrops falling on the pavement next to it of the sobbing marionette. I'm just like, God.
That's the attention to detail.
Yeah,
that
it's so fast. It's so fast.
Movie.
It doesn't draw attention to it at all.
Good. But it's like that is the we noticed it. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
It definitely gave me an emotion. It totally was like fucking.
For sure.
It's such a small, subtle thing.
It says a huge thing about Craig's character, who he is as a character living. Right. The only way he can express his emotions is through a puppet, essentially. Because he doesn't know how, in his real life, he fucking flies off the handle with a gun, and he's totally unhinged. Right. He doesn't know how to express feelings or communicate emotions unless it's through someone. And that's his outlet, you know. And so, you know, he feels most fulfilled being John Malkovich, because it's like puppeteering to him. That's why he's the only one that can take him over like that, unless you're a master, like, you know, Lester or whatever.
But then I thought Lester like shared it or something, you know. I didn't think he kind of. John Malkovich is very greedy as his character, so I feel like that's
he really is.
But
no, it's definitely part of it. He approaches it differently, but that's the thing. It's like the internal logic of this movie. It's pretty loose because it's such a strange, unexplainable concept that has no real bearing in like physical, quote unquote, objective reality. So it's like you can kind of play fast and loose with like the rules of it, because it's like,
I mean,
we don't know what this portal is.
Here.
Yeah, we don't know what this portal is or how it works exactly, because it's fucking like, how can a human mind understand such things?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing about this movie that's unrealistic is that people were getting dropped like 13 feet from the earth,
totally
like
fine.
Launched.
And a pregnant, like an 8-month pregnant woman.
Yeah. Only unrealistic part of this whole movie. No one had like, there wasn't like a fucking freeway mattress out there that someone could land on, because also they were fucking hitting hard,
dude. And also that it took him 15 minutes to get out of the center of Manhattan to the New Jersey Turnpike. Like, I've never been there. But I know that it does not take 15 minutes, even in the 90s.
You can't, if there's 15, you can't get 15 minutes in any city.
He's always parked. He's always just like parked there. And I'm like, you were just in that office. Like, did you sprint?
Right.
You had to like call the elevator and have it stop on the 7th floor.
Oh, and I love that. That introduction as like the first time you watch this movie, it's got to be such a weird. Like, you either love this movie or hate it, because it's like fucking weird. Like, this creepy puppet dude, really sad, and then he gets this job, and it's like the 7th floor, and she's like, "Oh, your first time, here you go," and she just like you just crowbars open, and it's like
a half floor.
So
it's so
jarring.
Yeah, and it's so like, oh, look, that's quirky. You know, it's a half a floor on the. It's a floor in between floors. That's weird.
Well, and it's so claustrophobic, clearly, but it's like, and it's so disjointed, because everyone is so fucking calm. Everyone's so no one
it's
questions
normal.
it.
It's super normal.
It's like everyone's just like, oh, it's the 7th floor. Like, it's totally. Even when he questions it, it's just kind of like it's jovial. He says, it's like, oh, we low overhead. We put the savings onto you,
and they talk about it in the orientation. But he's just like kind of like, oh, that's weird. Not like, what the fuck is this?
Nobody. Yeah, everyone just like accepts it as reality, and it's like, it doesn't exist. There's nothing like that.
As weird. I think that's what makes this movie so good for me, and like Charlie Kaufman stuff specifically too. I think, well, at least his earlier stuff. That it's like, it takes these, like I said, it takes these crazy concepts, and it puts them in a movie that's like, this movie's easy to follow. It's not like Holy Motors or something where you're watching it and being like. Yeah. Like, as a regular person, just being like, what the fuck is happening? How does this scene relate to this scene? Like, this movie has very straightforward storytelling from beginning to end. It has a clear plot with clear characters and with clear wants and needs and arcs and development. but it's like it's just got so many of these weird things to these surreal elements to just kind of catch you off guard and like ease you in, because the portal's not even introduced until like 30-40 minutes in almost.
Yeah, right.
Like it's longer in than I remembered it, considering it's such a main point of the movie. But you spend quite a long time just kind of getting used to the world, and it's like it's not that weird, but it's weird enough that you're like the 7.5 floor and like these kind of like they're living with a monkey and
even
like
Cameron even Cameron Diaz, like her character, it's sitcom-y. It's like it's like it's not real, but it's also kind of like I guess it is that hustle and bustle, that like that the multitude of people that live in New York. It's like sure there could be somebody who basically is like Ace Ventura, you know, and they fucking just have
that's what I was thinking
every
too.
animal in the world. I love how the
Ventura.
neighbors too. The neighbors are like, "Shut up," and she's like, "Oh, sorry."
The parents like, "Help! She's locking me in a cage. Help!"
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like I don't know. Yeah, they create their world so matter of fact that it just I believe everything about it. You know,
exactly.
There's no confusion, and there's
that's
like
even.
I guess it just you keep your like film logic. That's what's so hard is like when movies go against their rules, then that's when a movie falls apart and people go like, oh, what? It's like this is just like everything works.
This is very much like a film. Like this was written with a film. This is not some other crazy thing expressed through cinema. Like, for example, Holy Motors, which we talked about last time. It was more of like, you know, it was much more of a raw emotion put through the lens of cinema, even though it was extremely cinematic and could only exist on film. This, being John Malkovich, follows your traditional, like, film-going lexicon. Like, your average moviegoer goes in expecting this, and it's like, it's just tweaked ever so slightly that it catches you off guard if you're not knowing what you're getting into. But it's not enough to like throw the average moviegoer, and I think that's why this was such a breakout hit for both of them. Because I mean, Spike Jonze, again, like you said, was known in the industry, but like first feature, this was a pretty breakout hit.
Yeah, right.
It's got a big John Cusack in the '90s, Cameron Diaz in the '90s. Like it's got a good crew, good cast. Charlie Kaufman is like he blew up after this, you know.
No, it definitely like. I don't know, it kick-started the 2000s. It's kind of like, clearly 9/11 is a travesty, and it's a bummer that it happened, but I'm also, in a selfish manner...
Clearly!
It's well, clearly, right? That goes without saying, sure. But it's like, I'm kind of bummed how it disrupted cinema, because it's like, you know, every travesty does.
Because honestly...
Like COVID's definitely put a little fork in the road, and... Yeah.
The mid-2000s were like the worst for film until 2007. There's some exceptions, but 2007 was a great year for movies.
Was 2007 There Will Be Blood? And
There Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men, Zodiac.
A lot.
Yeah, there's some great movies in
Is that even when like Scott Pilgrim came out, maybe, or something? I don't know. There was maybe not. That was later. That was later, right? Or was that when Shaun of the Dead came out? Or was that like 2004? Anyways,
no, I'm looking.
But right, so it's like I know there was that big year. But
dude, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead came out in 2007.
Oh, yeah. But
Sunshine came out in 2007.
That's right. I remember that. I remember we talked
Unlimited.
In one of our older podcasts we talked about this. We went through it. I think I put a list down because I think The Signal came out, right?
Yeah.
Something like
Signal came out.
Yeah, right. That's why.
The assassination of Jesse James by the Carol Robert Ford. Yep. That's probably the one we talked to in that episode. That was probably the one we talked about it.
Oh, yeah, right, probably. Yeah. But anyways,
go listen to that episode.
Do we have a Reddit?
Nope.
Nobody.
We don't have it.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Well, yeah, we'll get you next time.
I know people. I feel like someone commented, like I thought, because someone was like, I feel in my mind like someone was like, oh yeah, being John Malkovich, I really love that movie. It's super weird, blah 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 blah. But then I went and looked, and no one did. But a lot of people voted for it, so I guess that's something. Yeah. Hopefully, some people watched it. Let me here talk for a sec while I get to Travis's voicemail. I'll pull it up for you.
Well, yeah, I'll throw in.
Give us the money. Give us the money minute. You got that?
Yeah, got the money minute right here.
Lay it on me, dog.
It was a $13 million budget. which is a pretty healthy budget for 99.
It's pretty solid.
And especially like it's a odd, unique project, but
it's a
13
it's a
fits
good
perfect.
risk for this kind of movie.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
like a huge budget, but it's a healthy budget
Right.
considering the risk that this movie probably was.
Yeah. And it grossed 23 or 24 technically. Like, yeah.
Okay.
24 mil. So it did fine. It came back. It's like I think it's kind of a
Good enough.
probably I think it did great because it had a lot of DVD and Blu-ray success.
I bet.
Criterion released it and stuff, and so it came with a lot. It's like, God, I just want to get a Spike Jonze because Spike Jonze has some dope shorts, and I haven't really kept up with it, and so it's like, God, it'd be great to see it. But,
Yeah, I haven't gone on a Spike Jonze. Yeah, like watching his shorts and stuff in a long time.
because I totally forgot. I had Michelle Gondry and Spike Jonze, their short compilation, and I watched a shit out of that, and they totally track. They're like,
They track.
they're
Yeah,
one and the
they
same.
do.
Michelle Gondry, it'd be fun to watch another one of his movies. Like,
What's he been?
I haven't-
When's the last movie he made?
well, so I don't know.
Science
film
Asleep?
music. Honestly, dude, probably. I think he did like a short for like Tokyo or whatever. But anyways, he did that show. Oh my God. Of course, I'm spacing. Jim Carrey's in it. It's like about the puppet. He's a puppeteer.
What is that? I'm
Happiness.
forgetting.
No, Happiness is that's the Philip Seymour Hoffman. Beautiful film by
That
Sylvia.
movie,
Yeah. Or no, it might actually be called. What is it? Yeah,
Sean
I love
Connery,
I
what
love I love forgetting movies. That's my favorite thing to do. Is forgetting
You do it all
every
the
film.
time.
I'm a professional at it. I've seen a lot of movies. And I have fun talking about all the movies. Kidding. God, how did I forget?
Kidding.
It's fantastic. It's funny. Kidding
Kidding is
has the
Dude, Catherine
his
Kinnear, she's
sister,
in
Catherine Kinnear, yeah.
she's in a lot of shit.
Dude,
man.
I've been catching her around. Catherine Kinnear, and
She's in
amazing?
Hamlet too. Did you ever see that?
Dude, oh no, I didn't see
Fuck,
that.
dude,
No,
Hamlet 2 is pretty good.
I remember it's got that one guy and he plays Jesus or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I think I like saw part of Hamlet too. But Catherine Kinnear has been in a lot of films that we've been watching lately, and like a lot of TV shows. She's been popping up, and she always kind of plays the like apathetic and it's sort of just kind of your like standard clinically depressed, kind of silly midlife crisis.
She always
like, type.
isn't she the wife in the other she's the wife in Synecdoche, New York too. Philip Seymour Hoffman's wife in that.
Yeah. She's that. She's like 40-year-old virgin. She kind of plays like maybe she plays a little more put together. But it's like in fucking I mean, in Get Out, I guess she's put together in that, but it's like a little different character. But anyways, in this movie, she kind of plays like a shallow badass. It's
Dude,
like,
yeah, she's a fucking
I-
bitch in this, and it's great though. She's great.
Yeah, dude.
She's so entertaining to watch because she is essentially the antagonist.
Right. Oh well,
of
big
the
time.
film.
But I think
I mean,
love
they
it-
kind
I
of
love it
all
because
because Craig kind of becomes also,
That's-
but like
that's what's great. This movie has no true protagonist and true antagonist. It's like everybody's kind of manipulating each other. Technically, John Malkovich would be your true protagonist in this because
he's the victim.
he's the victim of everything, and but he doesn't come into it until way later, and that's what I love. It's like the name of this movie is like misleading too, because like you come into this movie and you're like the whole time you're like, why is this called Being John Malkovich?
Right.
Like, what is going on? Yeah.
Right. Okay, you ready for this voicemail?
Lay it on me.
Hopefully you can hear it.
I'm
Hey
ready.
guys, so before I go into Being John Malkovich, I'd just like to say that I'm reading my review in question off my new awesome Cult of Cinema.
I don't hear that at all.
It's a great way to jot down notes on movies or write out a full review. Alright, so Being John Malkovich felt like an entertaining journey with original ideas and
Oh, hell
creative
yeah.
characters. This movie was a fun ride the whole way. The interview scene was hilarious and had me laughing out loud. I also think that Cameron Diaz gave a wonderful performance and I loved her hair. As this month's movies come to an end, I'm glad these 5 were chosen. My question for you two is, out of Mulholland Drive, Brazil, Birdman, Holy Motors, and Being John Malkovich, which movie was your favorite and why? Thanks.
Thanks, Travis. Did you get that? I know you didn't hear most of that. We'll find a better way to do it.
I didn't hear any of it, so I'm probably just gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to start. I can't do it live anymore, dude. I'm gonna have to just listen to it before and write down my ideas.
I'm gonna just find a better way to do it for you. I just don't want to click off of this because it's gonna fuck up the recording, man.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't remember. I was like, why? Dude, get a dual monitor, man. I will. Let me, like, Venmo you as you buy a dual monitor.
I have a monitor. I just don't have anywhere to put it. So buy me I don't have anywhere to put it. I have no room. Look at my fucking room.
I told you, dude, a wall mount. Fucking get it.
Do what? I have a window right here. If you get me a mount
I see in your room. You got drywall somewhere.
Barely. If you can find me a monitor stand that just clips to the end of my table that, like, clamps on that I can wheel out, like my microphone arm here. The clips on this end that I can swivel it out of the way. 100%.
Okay.
It'd be great. I'll set it up. I'll set it up right here.
I wasn't listening to you, but I'll buy you something.
Buy me a clamp desk, on monitor.
We're starting a GoFundMe for Levi's second monitor.
Yeah, but I have a monitor. Well, it's a TV.
I mean, whatever.
Travis's question.
Yes.
Was what was our favorite movie out of the 5 cerebral ones? And why? And Travis, I'm glad that you not only called but like enjoyed all the movies because they're a little bit different. Yeah. They're a little out of the box, and I think that was good. I'm ready to go back to like more basic, not basic movies, but like more just like straightforward filmmaking. That's not like what is that a metaphor for? You know what I mean? Is that you know what I mean? Mainly just so I can get people to watch them with me. And I can go to work and be like, hey, have you ever watched Holy Motors? You know,
I know,
people don't want to kill me.
Oh, whatever. I'm a fuzzy mess right now, so it doesn't matter.
You fuzzy mess.
Thank you for shouting out the Notebook, dog. That was great.
Yeah, dude.
I really appreciate it, Travis. You can go to the shop and buy your own Cult of Cinema Knowledge notebook to write all of your film ideas and film reviews in.
Yeah, film diary, man.
Yeah, dude, it's a film diary. Go to cultofcinemaknowledge.com. Go to the shop section.
Good plug, bro.
We appreciate you, and I don't know what my answer is yet, so give me a minute to think about it for just a sec. What is your answer? Do you have it?
That's hard. Yeah, that's hard for me because they all kind of offered me something different. Like I feel like Birdman is my favorite because I think Birdman is a masterpiece. I think it's fucking great beginning to end. Everything about it is just super enjoyable, and the pacing automatically sucks me in every time. There's no scene I'm waiting for because every scene is fucking engrossing. Yeah. But that said, I feel like this time around I enjoyed probably Mulholland Drive the most on a rewatch because it's like so many more things clicked for me this time watching it than did the first time. And I'm so fucking happy I watched Holy Motors than I wouldn't have watched otherwise because that was the one I had not seen before. And Holy Motors blew my mind in a totally different way than, Birdman or something did. Like, Holy Motors was a much different kind of movie to suck my brain suckers on and really just kind of think about. And I'll think about Holy Motors for a long time. It's like,
for the rest of my life,
I will remember Holy Motors. I'll never be like, oh, yeah, that movie. I'll be like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, Holy Motors. Sewer Goblin.
I think what I like, so we're not super pretentious around here, but maybe we are. Maybe we are a little bit.
We dab. We're like regular super pretentious guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're cinephiles, so that just comes with its own pretentiousness. But Holy Motors will definitely be like my favorite discovery. Yeah. So
it's like the most exciting because it's new. It's new and fresh.
I've seen all of the other ones.
Yeah, before, it's way out there. Like it fucking swings for the fence hard.
And it's successful, dude. It knocks it out of the park. I can't recommend it enough I don't really want you to see it. I just would hope you've already seen it so then I could be like, yeah, isn't that movie great? But I don't really want to recommend it because I feel like it'll alienate people and they'll be like, what the fuck was this?
Right.
But I loved Holy Motors. I think that like you said, Birdman is like the best. It's the best movie to recommend.
It's the most accessible of the bunch. I mean, it won Best Picture for fuck's sake. It's it's cerebral in a way that's like much more subtle, in the way of like, you know, like we talked about before, where it's like an unreliable narrator and everything. But where these movies kind of tap in, like I honestly think this movie's second place to like most normal, being John Malkovich. Like I think it's like Birdman's the most accessible, then being John Malkovich, then like Mulholland Drive, Brazil, and then Holy Motors.
Yeah.
So it's like they all offered something different to me, you know, because even Brazil alone, I was totally in love with the fucking production design. Like that, just the look of that movie's ingrained in my brain.
That is true. It does live in its time period, but like it's also timeless. It hasn't aged it's aged well.
All right, Fuzzy Dunlop over there.
I know, dude. You know what, man? I don't know why it's doing this. It didn't do this the last other streams, but
we're
whatever.
We're still figuring it out.
Yeah, Travis. Thanks for
your question. I think
questions. We always appreciate it. I'm glad you liked them, and I like, you know, excited to hear what you think later in person.
Yeah. I think that's it. Have you got anything else?
No.
Check out, if you haven't seen Being John Malkovich, check it out. Join our Patreon where you can watch it. If you join our Patreon, you can come watch it on our Plex. I've purchased it and put it on there for us, so that's how we watch our movies here. We don't know, I'm saying now, we don't know because I'm a fuck up and I'm a bad boy, like I said at the beginning. And I did not put the poll up in time, and then I fucked up the length of the poll. So we don't know actually for sure what next week's movie is going to be yet, because the poll's not over yet. But let's just say we're doing remakes, and the Departed is way out in front right now. So it's probably going to be The Departed, but you never know. It might be Ocean's 11, or it might be Scarface, or for some miracle, a whole bunch of fans of... Funny Games will come in and vote for Funny Games, even though it'd have to get like 50 votes at this point. But yeah, nobody wants to watch fucking Funny Games. It's a bummer.
I know. Soon. Well, Travis and I were talking about it, so
yeah. Have you seen Funny Games, Travis? Let us know.
Yeah, man. But yeah. Anyways, my wrap up will be the phone number if you want to call in like Travis does every week and let us know your thoughts. We can feature you on the podcast, or we can just answer your questions.
Yeah, if you don't want to go to the Reddit, even though we implore people, come back and forth with us. We like this best when we're having a conversation. Fucking go. If you've seen these movies, if you haven't seen these movies, give us your fucking thoughts on them. Do you want to see them? Do you care? Do you enjoy them? If so, why or why not? Just I want to know. Tell us, so I can have that back and forth, and then we'll read your comments on here.
Excellent. And the phone number to call, yeah, I'll do about phone number to call is 801-613-1501.
Very nice.
You can leave us a little message, and like Levi said, we got our patrons over at Patreon, and we're giving a shout out to a brand new patron here, Thomas Mahoney. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Thomas.
And Kylie and Landon, you're always, our supporter.
Our moms.
Gloria, thank you kindly. And Cindy, thank you kindly. And more good things are coming. It's growing. You guys are amazing. Can't do it without you.
Yeah, it's great. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for probably The Departed. Keep an eye out on the Reddit.
Right.
Check out Jordan. Will put it on the Instagram.
Letterbox.
We'll
Instagram.
put it on the Face Nerf. Yeah. Letterbox if you want to see what else we're watching. Check out, if you're a Patreon, check out our other podcast, Cinema Ramble, where we are talking just all things movie, because we watch other movies other than these.
Yeah.
And we're going to go do a Cinema Ramble right now, where we're probably going to talk about the Oscars or something.
I know, right? We didn't talk about the Oscars one bit on this.
I know.
And I don't want to. And so we're done.
We're going to save it for the ramble, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to hear our hot takes, you better go fucking get on that. It's episode 11, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
The new rambles up. They're fun.
All right. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
Bye.